Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Within podcast special edition. Wish I would have known. This is one of our favorite podcasts that we do, which is just all about like, man, I wish someone would have told me that before I started that or did that or thought that. So today,
lived it.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh,
Most of them are lived it.
Yeah.
Don't take us back there.
Yeah, exactly. Can't go there again. Today's Nicky. Nicky's going to kick us off with Wish I Would Have Known, really about, maybe you're just not for everybody.
Yeah.
Which might be my motto for life. Motto.
I was talking about this and Allie went on to tell me how she has a sticker that says I'm not for everybody.
No, it's a coaster.
Oh, coaster. You're even better.
Coaster.
You go everywhere.
It never gets old.
Yeah. So I've been doing just a lot of like thinking through as we're kind of getting ready for the next potential within, and we're building this community and we're doing all these things. And it's like, how do you get here? Like, what are the things that brought you here? And I talk a lot, I feel like, about the journey before I started our company and kind of what all the things that led up to like literally how we're all right here. I just quit my job without any plan. But, and one of the reasons I think is because you're not for everybody, right? And I think that's like towards the end of my last career, or the last company I was with, sales environment, very high. Like I joke sometimes I felt like I was on the Wolf of Wall Street, like the whole like. We didn't do cocaine, but, it's like the go, never enough. Like you're always searching and going for that next thing. And one valuable thing I think I started to learn kind of towards the end of my time there is you're just not for everyone. Right. And, at one point in my career when I was, number one salesperson and kind of all of the things were happening and you're busy when that's happening. And I was getting a lot of the feedback of, the newer people don't know how to approach you or don't know how to, so you should really do this. And I'm like thinking in my head, like, okay, so now I gotta act like this and I gotta do this and I gotta enter the door like that. And, just to make all these people feel safe around me. And I always thought it was like, God, okay, this seems weird, but all right, like, let's do this. Because I never wanted to, like, I do get feedback that I have a big presence and, sometimes people are intimidated to talk to me and I'm like, I'm just human. I put my pants on the same way. Sometimes I poop them. We talk about that. But I was living in this world of like, go. You got to be this person, right? You got to live in this box that does all these things. And if you don't, there was always with them, and that's kind of the culture that I was in. If you don't, there's no next to the thing, right? Like you're always going to be here. You're always going to kind of stay in the spot that you are if you can't become this person or like do. And it was never like a tangible. And this is when I talk about and like think back, because I've had to kind of go back and really think like, man, like how did I get to some of the thought processes I have now? And it's like I always was asked to be this person that like from a characteristic standpoint, like that's just not me. Like, and that doesn't make me a bad person. But like I might not have like the rose-colored glasses on all the time. I might not have, I am a more like direct, realistic person. That doesn't mean that I should make you feel uncomfortable around me, and that's never my intent. Mm-hmm. But I started getting all these things in my mind, and it's like I totally just lost who I was because I was trying to become this person for this organization to get the next carrot. Right.
Yeah.
And I think I see that, I have a couple of friends right now that I'm thinking of that it's like you kind of lose yourself because you're trying to like run this race that like somebody else is defining who you are. Mm-hmm. And I think until I really became comfortable with myself, I talk about, I went through a whole Simon Sinek. Matt and I were going through our divorce and kind of all of these things were happening. And I was like, you are the common denominator. Like you are the person, the thing that is consistent in all of these things going on in your life. And you're the one that needs to figure out kind of what my foundation is. And it was until I really took that time to do the inner work and understand who I am as a person, that I could, show up as my authentic self and kind of block out the noise of like what other people expect of you. So it's not always easy, like, and we were such a feedback-rich environment. I mean, I think we carefronted was the word, carefronted each other on an hourly basis sometimes. And it's like, at some point, like, I just am who I am, and I'm going to be the person that I'm going to be, and I'm going to talk about pooping my pants, or I'm going to talk about, my kids doing crazy things, or I'm not, and I'm going to get right to business sometimes. And I think that's why I also love some of the, like, YOS and some of the stuff that you do, because I think taking the time to really understand who you are and have that strong foundation, to be able to block out some of the noise, because you're not for everybody. Like, universe didn't make us like that, right? Like, we want individuals to be their own person. Yeah. So anyway, it took me a long time to, like, get there, but I just always remember thinking, like, I would leave those conversations, like, so confused of, like, so what am I actually supposed to do? Like, because now I'm like, I'm already the number one producer by, a lot. I'm already, like, doing all of these things. I've already handed off my territory 4 times. Like, so what am I actually, like, missing? And I think it was just always like they were trying to get me to be this specific characteristic. And it's like, that's just not who I am.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. It's like, looking back, I'm like, wow, that was like a really interesting time in my life.
Yeah.
You'll oftentimes hear me say we're a product of our environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that environment changes,
Yes.
right? I mean, so part of that environment is how you were raised.
Yeah.
The types of the family unit that
Right.
you had, what part of the country you grew up in. And we were just saying
Yeah.
how one of my daughter's college friends or college roommates' dad is a surfer, and what a different, that's a different environment.
Yeah.
He grew up in a very different environment, so it's interesting because as your environment changes, it does tend to define you,
Yeah,
right?
I would agree.
But I've always, like, when I was growing up, my parents always thought I was overly sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
And that I just needed to, I oftentimes heard just pick it up and just keep on going. Quit feeling sorry for yourself, because I was just overly sensitive. But I think that really led to some of my emotional IQ to this day, where I'm a relatively diplomatic person, but I'm also I don't know if I don't have a filter oftentimes, because they'd be like, you shared that?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm a pretty open book.
Yeah.
I'm going to share things with people.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hold it in.
Yeah.
But I think that'll be a continuing theme as we talk about some of the things, is just the environment in which we either control it or it controls us.
Yeah.
And some of the advice I'm giving to younger women in particular now is, don't let that environment, whatever it could be, typically it's your work environment, don't let that define you.
Yeah. It was kind of interesting because during the time I mentioned, I did this, like, they used to be called self-help books. And that's, like, literally what
Were you
they
in
were.
the self-help section of Barnes and Noble lately?
I was like sitting on my couch crying every night. I had to figure out what the hell was going on, right? But, like, Matt and I were going through our divorce, and
But you're still married. You're married. So if people are listening to this, I don't want them to think you've gone through a divorce recently.
No, Matt and I got married. We got divorced. Then we got pregnant, and then we got remarried. So that's our journey in a nutshell. But when we were going through that, we did the love languages, like the 5 love languages. And I think we both, like, rolled our eyes. But one thing I took away from that is my love language is quality time. And at the time, my leader, who, like, I completely adore, and who was starting to give me some of this feedback, every time we would have a one-on-one on the calendar, she would bring someone else. And it just would kill me. I would get so angry. And I'm like, why do I care? Like, I love that person that's coming. Like, why do I care? And it's like, I started to understand that, like, that one-on-one time was so crucial for me to be able to have and, like, receive feedback from her, ask questions, kind of, like, fill my bucket. And so just anyway, like, some of those things I was doing at the time to, like, really find my foundation and who I am, like, helped me understand what I also need. And be able to articulate that better. So it's like, it's not that I didn't like the person she was inviting. It's just like, that was something that filled my bucket to have that time with her. And so being able to also, like, articulate that and what does that look like? That's such a simple thing that like, she was just bringing everybody and doing all these things. And to me, I was like, oh, that was like my one time every month that I got to talk to you, and you brought 5 friends. Like, and it was just, it made me feel like bad, and I could never understand that. And then it's like I figured this out, and I was like, man, like, that is just something about my makeup, like who I am. There's a reason that's one of the 5 love languages, because a lot of people need that. So anyway.
What would you suggest, Nikki? I mean, given that, you know, we're not all for everyone,
Yeah.
but how does a person set themselves up for success early so that they don't feel as though they are trying to cater to the everyone's?
Yeah. I mean, I think just like being uber self-aware and like also understanding like, personally, I like data. So like I like doing a YOS or like doing like the Simon Sinek your why, which I think is what YOS is made out of. It's just his version 15 years later, but because there wasn't a lot of that available at the time, which makes me feel old, but like that wasn't that long ago. But I think we've evolved a lot in this space. So I think like taking the time to, you know, in that exercise, you actually had to go talk to 5 people in your family and get feedback, which I was like scared shitless to do because I'm like, I'm used to getting such negative feedback all the time at work. And it was kind of interesting. Like a lot of the feedback was like, you know, you are so driven, it was like all these things that I was like, wow, like that's how you see me. So I think being open to, you know, having those conversations with people or like asking for the feedback, but then if there is a tool that you can use just like to help you become more self-aware, I think, you know, doing that sooner than later or like earlier in your life helps you kind of understand, I think, who you are as a person. So you probably have more tools that you could rattle off, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it's a tool. Like, I think tools are like
tools help you like kind of like figure out like what
Establish
is it
your
that
values.
kind
of your personal values that you
Yeah.
stay true to.
sometimes though, like that, like I don't love using tools because it almost like you're trying to explore what's right for you or what you think, right? Like that's why I like YOS. It's just so simple. But like I think of like strengths, right? Like strengths gives you your 5 best strengths or your highest strengths or whatever. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, like those all show up for sure.
Yeah.
But like they don't define me. That's not who I am.
Right.
And so sometimes I think people will use those if they know whatever your why as an example.
Yeah.
Like challenge as your why is a great why. But if someone knows that's your why, like they could use it against you. And I'm like, why?
It's like a shadow side.
Yes, like why do that? And I think that's just someone else's insecurities, and you just have to say to yourself, like, I'm not going to let that bother me, or I'm not going to let whatever tool you're using define exactly how I show up and how I work and how I work with a team or with a leader or whatever it looks like. And I think that's just a really important like nugget to remember is that yes, quality time is probably really important. And quality time, I'm trying to figure out if I've never done that exercise, but if I did, I'm like, I wonder if quality time would be mine. Because I grew up in a space where I traveled, like the last 25 years of my career, I traveled by myself most of the time. So I was alone a lot. And so quality time to me is really important, but I'm also an includer.
Yeah.
Right? So like if Nicky was to ask me to go to coffee, I'd be like, Heidi, you should come along because I'm an includer, right?
Yeah.
Even though Nicky might want to just spend quality time with me. And I don't really think of it like I would have never thought of that as a bad thing because I'm an includer. And so it's like you've got all these things that are like playing into who you are and who someone else is and trying to remember all that stuff. So frankly, I just show up. I just am my authentic self and like hopefully people like me. And if they don't, like I cannot lose sleep over it anymore. And I think I used to. I think I used to. That used to really weigh on me is going to a new organization and having someone not like me, and especially coming from an organization where everyone liked me. I mean, not liked me, but like.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
And so it's just like it's really interesting to go into. And I just moved, right? And I don't really have any friends where I live now. I have a couple of friends that I, of course I would call friends, but at the same time, it's like it's just not the same. And I am who I am. And
I think the reason I like tools, though, and in this space specifically, just again, like you just asked that question, and I'm like, I don't know, why did I seek that out? You're so just like confused by what's going on in your life, like you don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think for me, having like something be like, okay, who are you? What's your name? You know, it just like started like, you know, what do you, I don't even remember. It was very simple. Like, I don't even remember some of the questions, but like, and like got you starting to think about like, why do I think like that? Because I don't think we're raised to think like some of those self-aware questions, like why do you do the things you do? Why are you thinking the way you're thinking? Why are you talking the way you're talking? We're just naturally not raised to talk about that or think about that. So I think like, yeah, that's probably why I love the tools. It's just like a lot of people that are seeking that information, they're like in a space that you don't even know where the health start. Like,
Yeah.
you're just like, just help me stop crying.
Yeah, right. I just need an
Or
out.
like, help me understand like why this is like continuing to happen or whatever. So,
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
admittedly, and not everyone, this is something that they lean on, but I would say it's my faith that I start leaning on
yeah.
when I'm kind of in that rut. Or
I didn't even know what that looked like at that time. I was
right.
just like, what is
I mean,
happening?
Nor did I. I mean, I
yeah.
grew up going to church on Easter Sunday, and that was
Yeah.
it. So it's something that I've had to find more as an adult, and
Yeah.
just realizing that there is value
Yeah.
in kind of that faith journey. And I mean, it's not for everyone, like I said, but that's definitely something that's helped me stay true to myself
Yeah.
Yeah.
and what the purpose was in which I was created to be. So, yeah.
So, anyway.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us at another special edition of With I Would Have Known. Have a great day.